This meeting is being recorded.
Woo! We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the $15,000 and 10-hour mistake speakers make when building their teams. We're so excited that you are with us today. We're going to make this short and sweet, but give you all the good information. So my name is Kendra Harris. I'm a business doctor of organization. Some people call it a bit online business manager, but I like to give it a fancier title because organization really is my thing. But I work with speakers and service providers in streamlining operations, optimizing backend systems, all the things that you don't have time to do or you don't really like to do, basically. And this is my family of five. So basically, I've been managing chaos for a very long time.
I always love your introduction, Kendra.
Thank you.
And I'm Madeline Victoria. I'm a social media manager, and I help service providers and speakers turn their talks into strategic social media content. I'm all about building credibility, nurturing their ideal audience, and just keeping them top of mind. So I'm based in Alabama, if you couldn't tell by my accent, but I work with people all over the country. I always have to slip that little line about the
That's a
accent
good thing to talk about. Yeah.
someone-
I'm in Tennessee, and that's basically how we connected. No, we've never even met in person. So
One day, though, we will one day.
I was about to say we're going to. Well, today what we're going to do is we're going to help you with figuring out what kind of support might be right for you. Obviously, if you have questions after this, you can talk to us, but we know that you've heard, hire a VA, get a social media manager. Maybe you need an online business manager. And a lot of times people don't really know what exactly those mean. And you hear a lot of different things from different people. So we are going to help you understand all that.
Yeah, what I see all the time is people hire the wrong support, or they hire support too early or too late, and it ends up costing them a ton of money and time. And I mean, I see this literally all the time. Kendra and I were talking right before this about just the mistakes that people make that they think they're being smart about, but they just don't have all the information. So we're gonna hit on a couple of points and help you guys, get ahead.
Exactly. So the first thing is when you know that you're ready for a social media manager. So that is Madeline's area of expertise. She's going to explain to the T how you're going to know if you're ready for one, if you're almost ready for one, or maybe you should wait a little bit.
Yeah, so when you're ready for a social media manager is well, let me back up actually. So one of the biggest things that I see is again, knowing when to hire help and knowing that they need help, but they're not sure what kind. So people are telling them, oh, you need a VA, or you need an OBM, or you need a social media manager. But again, nobody explains what each role actually is, and they just kind of throw you into the deep end. So a lot of social media managers out there, they'll tell you, oh, a social media manager is all you need. That's it. Come to me and we'll fix all your problems. And that's simply not true. I would love for it to be true, but it's not. Social media managers, I can get you visibility and I can help get you leads. I can get people in the door. But if your back end is a mess, then none of that matters. I've worked with countless people where, they were getting a lot of leads, and we were really just growing our views and our followers on social media. But as soon as these leads booked a call, or even sometimes, after they booked a call and started trying to work together, everything would just fall apart because there was no clear process afterwards. So when you're ready for a social media manager, your back end can handle new leads. You have a clear process, exactly, what step to do from the sales call to the, even invoicing. Maybe people are already looking you up after events. So if people are looking at your social media after you speak, then we want to make sure that there's new content. We want to make sure that there's videos of other speaking events. We want to make sure that we just have a clear system in place. And then the third sign that you're ready for a social media manager is you don't have time to turn your talks into content. So I joke with people all the time and say social media management is another full-time job, and you shouldn't have to have two full-time jobs. There's no time for that. So that is one of the clearest signs that that I come across. And then what I actually help with is I help with turning your keynotes and your talks into strategic content. So, maybe it's making talking reels or carousels or recaps of events. There's tons of content that we have to work with, when you're on stage or even beforehand. I mean, um, and even just like promoting the event too, or like talking about like, hey, I'm doing this thing next week. Another thing that social media managers help with is building credibility online. So when people are looking to hire you, they're going to do their research. And so many people look on social media. So having a website is great, of course, but social media, like they go to that to see like if it's updated, if it's relevant, what your recent talks have been on. And then another thing that I help with is like nurturing warm leads. So maybe, somebody has heard of you, but they don't know a ton about you. So social media just helps them, or helps keep you top of mind. It helps, them see what you're all about. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I consume a ton of content. So like I catch myself scrolling for hours sometimes. So it's very saturated. We want to remind people like you exist, and we want to like, make sure that you are at the top of their mind.
Totally. Well, I especially love that you talked about the structure behind the scenes, because if you don't have that, then they work with you, leads come in, and then it can kind of fall apart. So that is where we can talk about when you might be ready for a virtual assistant. So a virtual assistant is someone who can, yes, come in when you have too many administrative tasks going on, and you're also trying to reach out to leads and go to speaking events and fly out of the country and all of those other things. But like Madeline said, you really need to have some type of process or system set up in the back end. If you think that you're just going to hire a virtual assistant, you can talk to them, say, hey, here's what I need help with. Okay, thank you so much. And then you're never going to have to talk to them again, and they're just going to take care of it. It's not quite that easy. So it is a working relationship that you're going to have to spend a little bit more time in the front end of things on. But if you don't have the processes and systems for a virtual assistant to come in, we're going to talk about who can help you set those up in just a minute. But a virtual assistant is like an assistant. So they work virtually, but very much think of the word assistant. Like if you were at a department store, what would assistants be doing? So they can help with all types of administrative tasks. They make sure that leads are being followed up with when you're out and about and you don't have time to check your CRM. And they basically will help if you know what they need to help with. So that is very important if you're going to hire a virtual assistant. If you're not sure what you need help with, but you just know you have a lot of stuff, crazy stuff going on, and you need some type of help, virtual assistant is probably not what you need. So what a virtual assistant actually helps with is the day-to-day tasks that keep everything flowing. They again make sure that opportunities don't slip through the cracks, like when your inbox gets to 500 emails and you've only clicked and opened a few here and there. But they can keep everything organized, make sure your calendar stays organized too, and basically give you that time back to help with the growth piece. So who do you call on if you're not in that space? If you don't have everything set up for a virtual assistant to come in and take care of things? That's when you might need an online business manager. So an online business manager, again, it's a manager. That's, the difference in thinking about an assistant versus manager at a department store. It's very similar here. So an online business manager can manage multiple aspects of your business, but it's not just administrative tasks. Think bigger picture, like setting up systems, processes, and things like that. Also, one of the things that people forget a lot, sometimes I work with speakers and they may have a YouTube guy, they may have a website guy, but they're the one that has to directly talk to each one of these people, right? So there is no one managing the team for them. That's something else that an online business manager can come in and do. If you hire a social media manager, your online business manager can actually be the go-between so that you don't have to be the bottleneck anymore when your social media manager needs something and the YouTube guy and the website guy. Oh yeah, and you have a speaking gig coming up and there's some leads that you haven't responded to. So what I actually do as an online business manager, I keep everything moving behind the scenes, whether I'm your one person team or I'm working with other members of your team, even a virtual assistant. You can definitely have a virtual assistant and an online business manager. Some people need one or the other, and some people need both. But hopefully, through this conversation, that helps you see kind of where you're at right now. And as you grow and as things change, that may shift, and that's totally fine with business. I help with keeping projects and deadlines and everything on track because, again, you're not in your systems every day, usually, especially if you're traveling. And I absolutely love organizing all the systems, setting them up. When I say setting up systems, I don't always mean coming in and setting up something brand new. A lot of times I just work with what makes sense with the business owner, what they've been using. Occasionally we'll need a new system, but sometimes it's just somebody to come in and organize and clean up and actually figure out what is their process. What are the steps that the speaker's doing? All right, let's get these wrote down. Let's figure them out and see what a virtual assistant can help with and what part I need to help with. So it really allows you to step back into the CEO role and do the things you're great at, which is speaking and connecting. So, Madeline, do you want to go through this slide that kind of explains the difference in each, and then we'll talk about the pricing, because I know pricing is always something that everybody wants to know. And so while each one of these people is a contractor and sets their own price, we can give you a good idea about what they charge.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I loved your explanation about like the difference between VAs and OBMs because I feel like I get that question a lot too. Because they'll be like, "Oh, I have a VA, like isn't that the same as?" And I'm like, "No, no, they are different." So, I thought that was great. But yeah, so for a virtual assistant, like Kendra said, think of this as the doer. It's going to follow your direction and it's going to be anywhere from $25 to $65 an hour. For OBMs, they are again the manager, so they are going to be, $70 to $120 an hour. And guys, like this is so helpful, like for your business to like keeping yourself organized and just like making sure that it's actually like a business and not a hot mess. But and then a social media manager increases, your visibility and your audience reach. It's the amplifier. So it's like getting the word out there. It's getting people, to your business in the door. And so that is anywhere from $150 an hour to a lot of people do packages, which is what I do a lot. So but yeah, I mean these three different roles are so helpful when you are trying to again focus like on being the CEO of your business and like, just taking things off your plate so that you can focus on only the things that you can do.
Exactly. And I hope everyone loves the pictures because, body parts here, we're thinking about the hands, the whole system, the mouth, like hopefully you can relate to that. But also again, as Madeline said, some people do packages, some people do retainers hourly, and then also in this space, you'll hear some people use the word retainer, but it's two different things. So really, in the grand scheme of things, you need to make sure you understand what type of support the person can give you and whether that's best for your business. And that could be a whole nother class on like how to ask the right questions to see if they're really the right fit for your business. But obviously you can also reach out to us if you have any questions. So if you do have any questions, I'm going to share our contact information here. A couple quick things though, peace, not perfection. Like it takes a while to get things as close to perfect as possible. And then we all know as businesses change and grow, then, your perfect starts to become imperfect and you have to revamp and things change. And, that's why having these types of support are so important. But also, I love the one on the bottom right because organization is my thing. Sometimes order starts with chaos, right? If you didn't have a business that was chaotic, you wouldn't be watching this. We wouldn't even be talking about who do you need to support you if you didn't have that business, right? So sometimes it does have to get a little chaotic and unorganized in order to figure out how's the best way to organize it.
I love that.
So here's our contact information. You can look us up on all of these different great platforms, social media platforms that Madeline can share all kinds of great things with you about. We also have our websites listed at the bottom if you want to see a little more detail about what we offer, but we're both happy to hop on a call with you anytime and answer any questions, obviously free of charge, just to see if we can help with your specific needs or if we can direct you to someone else that can.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully today's conversation like helped clarify some things. But like Kendra said, we love responding to messages and just like going back and forth, whether it's like on LinkedIn message or for me, like I love doing voice notes on Instagram. So we'd love to connect with you guys.
Thank you for being here.
We appreciate it.